Good morning. I'm PolarizedMoon, and welcome back to Mainland. When we last left off, I gashed my leg open, and I doused the wound with whiskey. So now, I will... Let's see, examine... Oh, let's just examine general. Let's see. I need... Small wooden nightstand. Search... Nope. Must be ancient. Open nightstand. The drawer is open. Search drawer. Look at drawers. There's nothing of use. Okay. Walk to the deck. Yet more rain. It falls in sheets. It would be unwise to go out. Okay. Examine painting. The foreboding image of a single masted vessel weathering a storm, not unlike our own. Cut. No, I was gonna say cut the painting with the knife. Open. Desk, drawers, nightstand, table. You can open the table? There's nothing useful in the drawers. Oh, the desk is the table. Look at window. Light rain patters against the glass. Wait, what am I waiting for? Nope, that's not what I do. Wrap, examine ink. Let's do that. A small glass bottle of ink. There's not very much, but it should carry on my diary long enough. So what am I looking for? It is dark. Aching eyes, candle before taking my quill. I found it clean. I cleaned it. Ah. Ow. The sun is well. The sky appears as if it is late evening. A small wooden nightstand. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Examine bed. Captain's bed once slept where I lay my head. Its soiled linens with traces of the blood from my leg. Examine painting with... Wow, that's interesting. Blade. Examine the blade. It is heavy and blade is dull. I do not need it to be sharp. What do you need it for? Open window? Window does not open. Moreover, I would not risk the dampness. Okay, I need to look at my where are the matches? Take. Oh, move nightstand. Duh, because the... Okay. I pulled the nightstand away from the wall and noticed a small copper box wedged into a crevice. Examine... box? A nearly full box of phosphorus matches. Take matches. Yeah, see, they have little things here and there that you want to pick up on, and I didn't pick up on that you have to move the desk. I thought it was just explaining that it moved a lot. Okay, light candle. With matches. I light the candle. Heat tip of blade. Oh, the tip of the blade with candle. So I'm going to cauterize the wound now. I steadily tip the blade over the flame until it turns red. Because I remember cauterize being here. Cauterize wound with glowing red tip. Okay. I let out a long sigh as I stared down at my woeful leg. My teeth clenched under the sleeve of my jacket. I readied myself for a flood of tears, the shock of the alcohol lingering on as a preamble. I forced the glowing tip into the wound. I must hold steady. My body seizes and my eyes closed. When they open, they find the letter opener lying on the floor, its blade surrounded by a charred outline burned into the planks. The ordeal, I must record my thoughts. With the ordeal over, I must record my thoughts. So... sit... desk... Here we go. September 13th, 1846. When did my father set his mind on this research? I believe he developed an interest while visiting a copra plantation some years before closing his practice. Only once did he tell me of the natives bound and forced to labor while the landowners dined. Not died. That's a different story altogether. The laws of God and men have oft been corrupted in our time of prosperity. What I dwell upon is my father's conviction to return, such that nothing could stop him but a failing heart. He dutifully prepared for years, no less than I for my solicitorship. I did not interfere with his affairs until I learned of his plan to build a ship. God knows how much more vehemently I would have protested if I had known our fate. He died shortly after her completion. I admit at the time and in mourning I did not consider taking on his work. The seed was planted, I suppose, but it took time to germinate. It is a weed very hardy and impossible to remove once its roots have set. And Lisa. A 2-month voyage across the ocean fell from her lips in such romantic syllables. I was an Englishman unmoved. Tales of typhoons, desert islands, and so many unspoken details. I considered myself a Londoner by rights and should scarcely imagine anything outside the city. But to hear of her speak made me wish myself in those scenes, and in her mind. September 15th, 1846. My situation worsens by the day. The right leg is lame, the wound did not heal properly, my willpower has certainly been diminished on account of it. It is impossible to explore the island until the rain ceases, leaving me confined to search for unconfessed sins while the captain sleeps below his deck. This erratic mind in me is encouraging at times. Perhaps I am so very near colonists and plantations where good fellows might send word to London. I launched the dinghy in such dreams, rowing the short distance to redemption. Might I get that vessel into the water? I stand aware that I may have little time before the heavens transform noon to midnight and wet to miserable. The sails are quiet and still no longer pantomiming our voyage home. The dinghy is lashed to runners beneath it. Its canvas cover was bright at our departure, now spotted with filth. Examine canvas cover. Heavy canvas with eyelets pulled down around the edge of the dinghy. Examine dinghy? I have no crew, but my wits are still about me. Perhaps after I untie the ropes, I can leverage one end out towards the middle of the deck. The water beyond the starboard is shallow, yet port side is a treachery of rocks and waves. Untie lashings. The lashing is tied in a incredible knot. Trying to loosen it seems to tighten it more and more. Cut lashing with there's a knife in the galley, isn't there? Walk, hold. Unnerved, I stand in the dim light of the portholes. I open the portholes. This place is a tomb. A long corridor leads to the sick bay. The stench of death in that direction is unbearable. The air in the hold is heavy and damp, with specks of dust that fill my lungs and start me coughing. A massive wooden door opens to the galley. The space has been left just as it was, the long wooden table stretching the length of the room. A mountain of dishes remains piled against the wall. The last service finished prematurely. There is a meat cleaver hanging on the wall. Take cleaver. I take the meat cleaver. Go corridor. Go deck. Cut. Lashing with cleaver. The cleaver is effective. Are we playing Pokemon now? Pikachu, use cleaver. Use meat cleaver. That would be an entirely different game. Okay. I need to move toward the main mast. Move dinghy. It must be filled with lead. It will not move an inch. What is hidden under the canvas? Remove canvas cover? The canvas is attached to the lip of the dinghy. I need to remove it. Cut tie downs with cleaver. I sink the meat cleaver into the strand near the eyelet and the canvas cover goes slack all at once. Inside the boat are supply crates. A cache I do not recognize. I stand a moment looking them over. Examine crates. Copper box? Oh, that's the one I have. Massive wooden crates. One is broken and its contents are visible. Lumps of coal. But this is no steamship. Take crates? Crates are too heavy. I must leave them on the deck. Remove... No. Move crates. Begins to rain. Staggering, I tumble them under the deck one by one. Why are those there? That makes no sense. Open... Nope. Okay, so move dinghy. My waterlogged boots slide on the deck as I try to dislodge the boat from its frame. I would do better without them. Remove shoes. Alright, now move dinghy. The silence aboard the Mayflower is shattered by a clap of thunder. I raise my eyes to meet a torrent of water. The rain soaks me to the bone as I bear down with all my strength and manage to shift the dinghy off the skids and onto the deck. I cannot give up now. Steadily, in small advances, I push her closer to the gunwale. Oh, I have to go to the cabin. September 18th, 1846. Overnight, I must have had a chill, for I awoke with a fever and my head feels as though it was split into 1,000 throbbing pieces. Hold on one second. I need to take a drink of water. There's a lot of reading. I am forcing myself to write in spite of the anguished state I am in, and at the same time forcing myself to believe the end of this document will prove my return home. My imagination humors me, conjuring up visions that I am captain, proudly standing at the stern with sails set atop the reef. Lisa, where do I find myself? My mind was elsewhere all along. Father's death was a heavy burden to bear, yet never would I have imagined to be here, to risk the lives of so many who died at the edge of the world. His decision to make his journey must have been a sign of insanity, perhaps my inheritance along with the Mayflower and so many unpaid debts. You were the voice of reason who for so long advised me not to bother with my father's business deals. But after his death your perception changed. All at once you claimed to see discontent growing in my heart. When you came to say goodbye, I was filled with emptiness at the idea you were missing from my days. In dreams I visit you, dearest Lisa. Your face is so long hidden, I must grasp at its memory. Oh, that's sad. I stand on the main deck of the ship, flooded with sunlight. The Mayflower sits in port, being prepared in her maiden voyage. Anticipation gnaws at me, the fantastic and altogether unreal prospect of 2 months at sea in the Pacific on the horizon. I look out at the pier where well-wishers have assembled. A woman stands off to the side as if unsure of her place in a crowd of commoners. She looks about and seems not to recognize me. I must draw her attention. Wave at Lisa. Oh, this is a flashback or a dream? I wave and she replies with an extraordinary smile. The breeze tussles her hair and my eyes stay unflinching. They would forever. Look at Lisa. With her gentle brow suddenly furrowed, she signals me to turn and face the other direction. I turn around, and facing me is a bank of clouds, black as pitch, moving rapidly towards the ship. Carried on a fierce wind ahead the settling sun. Violent flashes of lightning break loose from within. September 21st, 1846. There's a tragic irony in the thought that I would die from a cold after such afflictions I have endured. The wound on my leg will not heal until I am well. I can hardly control the pen as my eyes drift and fall. I fear the end will come after every breath, every heartbeat that grasps at the last. September 22nd, 1846. I have grown calm, as though I have no reason to worry. My mind has carried the delusion to its irrational end, such that I begin to live in a state of ignorance of my situation. Is this entire voyage contrived in my own mind? I cannot compare it to anything sure. Dear Lisa, show me your face that I may climb from the wreckage towards it. The ink will soon run dry, perhaps not before my memory. September 23rd, 1846. I carry on. So many lives in the ship's wake. I must do something. I must regain my footing to stand up and fight against the odds. I stretch my aching body the length of the bed. My forehead clenches tightly as if squeezed in a vice. The beat of my heart echoes through each temple, and I cannot sleep. If I could but make my struggle easier and fall into a deep emptiness, a colorless void. I choke and start, a heavy cough rendering my lungs. Sitting up, I feel as though I must remember something before I leave. The rain continues, but I must try to stand at my feet. Stand. Strand. Surtand. I struggle to my feet and my eyes adjust, grasping at consciousness such that I may lean against the wall. The air feels slow entering my lungs. I should go outside and breathe salt air to liven me. The captain has become so oppressive, I stand in the center of the room. Oh, this cabin. I was gonna say the captain, that makes no sense. But I guess it could have made sense because he could be going delusional. I stand in the center of the room. There are sheets of paper scattered around the room. Outside the window, the storm rages on. Heavy raindrops pelt the glass like a birdshot. The captain's brass telescope lays on the desk. Take a sheet. I retrieve a sheet and begin to read. September 4th, 1846. The sea has rested for several days now, while the sea within me rages. The storm in my heart roars at the idea I alone survived this catastrophe. It is difficult to reread my thoughts from the beginning. I let the page slip from my fingers and it quietly drifts to the floor. I take the telescope. Walk to the deck. I stand on the deck. The wind and rain batter me and my legs struggle to keep me aright. Barely discernible through the curtains of water, the dinghy has been filled to the brim. The hook is still attached to the bulwark and the rope hanging over the side of the rocky shore. The weight of the water inside is immense. The hook is still attached to the bulwark. So, unload. No? Unbind? Cut? No? Well, okay. What do I do here? The hook is still attached. The rope hanging over the side. Take rope. Take rope. I remove the hook from the crossbar and reposition it. I no longer trust first efforts. So what am I doing here? Examine ship rain. Examine the rain. The downpour looks as though it will not cease anytime soon. The weight of the water inside is immense. Well, actually, that's all the time I've got for today. I'll figure this out next time. Good morning, I'm PolarizedMoon, and welcome back to Mainland. Okay, so it looks like the dinghy is not what I'm supposed to be working on here. I can't cut, so I have to go shore? I carefully sit on the gunwale and swing my legs over to bane down the rope. The weight, yeah, because that's why I took the rope. The rain floods my eyes and my hands begin to lose their grip, yet an unseen force steadies my descent. At the waterline, I push off the hull and splash into the raging sea. I stand in the water next to the ship. I need to get out of the water. Walk shore. A wall of rain pushes in from the ocean. My feet struggle in the muck, unsteady on my wounded leg. I fall and sink both hands in. It takes all my strength to free myself and continue on. Walk cliff. I rest against the boulders beneath the cliff. I cannot climb straight up to the peak this time. Not in my condition. My feet slip and my hands bleed as I claw at the loose rocks along the path. I reach the impossible summit and tempest is quelled. I stand still, waiting. The wind pushes the black clouds away, ushering the sun to warm my face. I close my eyes. I stand at the edge, breathing in the sea. The ocean crashes onto the rocks below. A gale builds strength against me. That distant island beckons me as the sunlight returns to illuminate its range. I wish to examine it once more. Look at island with spyglass. As I look upon the distant beach through the barrel of the telescope, a mist appears. The island dissolves within it. I wait, yet nothing returns but the horizon. Gulls swoop and dive, crying out to remind me where I stand, and where I fall. Wait, what? The island is... Oh, a mist. Okay, I was gonna say the... Next. Whoa. Oh, that was it? That was the end? Okay, well, forget about the ending of that. I'm gonna add this on to the end of that other one. I might just cut out my intro and... Yeah. Okay, well, that was a great game. It's actually kind of short. It's a lot shorter than I was expecting. But the music was great. The writing was great. Oh, Moscow. Oh, so this is a Russian game. Yeah, there we go. And that's it. That game was great. Oh, I love that. That was fantastic. If there's any... That's about all the time I've got for this episode. Yeah. So if there's anything that you'd like... Any other games you'd like to see me play... Or if there's any other types of games you'd like to see me play, I will certainly experiment into other types of games. I know this isn't what a lot of people like to see. A lot of people like to see action and fighting and all that, and this was more of a calm and soft and reserved game, and we're supposed to sit here and we're talk and read and everything, and scratch up my throat because I've been reading for an hour. Well, and like I said, if there's any other types of games you'd like to see me play, or just games in general, write them in the comment section below. Tell me what you think of this. Tell me what you thought. I wanted to see how this would go, and I think it went well. Yeah. Like and favorite the episode, subscribe if you liked me. Good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. I move along an impossible trail. This is new to me. There are many dying trees, broken at the crown by high wind, with branches like gnarled fingers of a man far gone in age and abuse. There is no end in sight, prompting me to look back in the direction of my ship.